antisocial horror-ish show for the Portland Horror Film Festival. And today we have got somebody fabulous, because you know I love that word. Miss and now Faith, I hope I don't screw up your last name. My husband is Chinese, so I've been coached. It's, Faith Liu.
Yeah, Lou is
Okay.
just fine.
Okay, cool. So Faith Liu, whose film Sundowning is in the Portland Horror Film Festival. Why, you ask, would something as cheerful as sundowning be? That's for you to find out. So Faith, how are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me on your old-timey TV set.
Thank you. Yeah, if you ever want to change the channel, just shut me up. We're
Beautiful,
there.
beautiful.
And my dog might make an appearance. There's several dogs that walk around. So
I would love that. I would be so honored.
Dribble, you heard that? Okay, Dribble might come in. How long have you been making the movie stuff?
The movie stuff in general?
Yeah,
I've
no,
been
yeah. When did you first figure out you wanted to do films?
oh goodness, that's a whole spiel and a half. I don't know if you have time for that.
I got lots of
Um
time. I can always edit.
well, I started out like so many people making dumb things for YouTube. I had a group of friends in high school. We would literally just like wait till the second church was over on Sunday to
Uh-huh.
just like huddle in the back and start planning movie ideas. And they were fundamentally silly.
Now,
But
where was this? Which?
this was in New Jersey.
Oh, of
I
course.
grew up homeschooled in New Jersey. It was a
That's right.
whole
I read
thing.
your bio, and I should have not even asked that question. I should
No,
have
you are
known
all
that
right.
fact.
Your audience presumably has not read my bio,
This
so
is fact.
So yes, I grew up homeschooled. So my main form of socialization was reading books, which is not really much
And
socialization
then
at all.
church.
And church. Which is decent. So I mean I met so many of my current filmmaking friends through church, which is kind of wild.
I look at church
Um
as a community. I don't look at it as a religious thing. So, like
mhm.
people that I know to go to church, I'm about as religious as I am a tall black basketball player. But, you know,
Yeah.
I get why people go. So,
Church is absolutely a community. But yeah, so I grew up not getting I think actually just not getting what most people went through because they would
sorry,
go to,
prisoner.
oh, puppy. I'm so distracted. Oh, it's so cute.
She is the sweetest
Oh,
looking dog,
oh, look
but
at that
she is a
face. Oh, look at the
maniac. This is
ears.
Tribble.
Hi, Tribble. Okay, I've completely derailed this entire
Okay, I
podcast.
do it all the time. She's a
Tribble
mama's
has
girl.
derailed this entire
Yes, I
podcast.
blame her 100% because look at this face. I mean,
Oh,
she's a meme ready to happen.
oh, she so is. But yeah, so I grew up not knowing what like homeroom was, not being able to relate to like what my friends teacher like, everyone wants to talk about
Prom
stuff that
was
happens at
weird.
school. Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of after a certain point I realized like people don't relate to what I'm talking about. I don't relate to what people are talking about. And I started to become a little bit more introverted. I started just kind of curling in on myself a little bit. I went, maybe I'll just be, with my books and my movies and I'll be fine. And my mother, God bless her, looked at that and went, that's not okay.
Good for
And
your
she
mom.
forced me into competitive public speaking. This
Say
is
what now?
the worst possible thing to put a cripplingly shy middle school girl with like body image issues through
Loving this
is
for like so many
competitive.
reasons.
I swear this is related to movies eventually.
Oh, this is
So
great. Keep going. I love
I
this.
was forced into competitive public speaking, which is horrific, right?
Oh,
Like,
and now was
please
it debate or just talking?
debate, speeches, the whole
Stand-up
shebang.
comedy?
We didn't have stand-up comedy, but we did have this, and it was the only thing I liked.
Okay.
It's this thing called or interpretation, where you take a work of literature, you cut it into a 10-minute kind of stand-up
Oh,
performance,
that I
but you
like.
can only use the book. You cannot use your own words.
Oh, that's cool.
So you have to figure out how to perform all the characters by yourself with no props. No props, no costumes. Um, and I realized I couldn't stand anything else. My hands were sweating. I felt ashamed and it was a whole thing. But interp I realized I could do because at least I found when I was pretending to be other people, I didn't freak out quite so much.
There's
Right?
your acting chops. That's
I
good
could
direction right
pretend the
there.
fear away and I started to quite enjoy it. And I'd grown up loving stories. I loved my dad's a huge sci-fi nut. So I think at one point I was doing an interp of Isaac Asimov's Bicentennial Man, which if y'all
Nice.
are familiar with the Robin
Good.
Williams movie, it's aged weirdly, not
Yes.
not poorly, just weirdly.
Yes.
Um, but
Yes.
it's a beautiful film, and it's this is a homeschool competitive public speaking league. So all
So
of
do
the
you have
judges
brothers and
are,
sisters?
I have a brother and a sister both.
And
They're also forced to do this with me.
were you competing against them?
Sort of. I mean, they're all competing against each other, but you're competing like regionally and then nationally. Like you're competing against homeschoolers in Hawaii.
That's
It's
cool. My
it's
niece and
wild.
nephew are homeschooled, so I could see them doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wild experience, but most of the time the judges are other homeschool moms.
Oh, jeez.
And they tend to lean on the conservative side. They tend not to care so much about sci-fi. Like that's not really their thing, and especially not sci-fi about a robot that wants to be a human being and it's like a huge civil rights allegory.
Yeah,
They're not really so into that most of the time. So
that's
I'm
sad.
performing this thing and I go, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna get really into it. And I remember there was this one specific time. I don't remember who the judge was. It was a homeschool mom, but I remember I got to the, for those who don't know, and I'm not going to spoil, Bicentennial Man is a very sad story toward
Yeah,
the end.
it did come out maybe more than 5 years ago.
So yes, yeah,
So
you
you
know
can
what? At this,
spoil it.
but
I
like,
think
I
you're
don't
okay.
want to spoil. I'm not
I
going to
know.
spoil a
Because when
Robin
somebody's
Williams
first experiencing
experience.
something and they know, like when somebody blew Citizen Kane for me, I was,
Oh,
you
death, death
dick.
immediately. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, so I get to the sad point in the story, and I remember very distinctly. Again, I'm in middle school. This is like a core memory. One of my judges, the homeschool mom, started to cry. Like she had like tears tracking down her face, and I remember freaking out because I'm at that age where adults crying is bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did I screw up? Did I do something wrong? So I stumble through the rest of the speech and I leave the room. And then it's after I leave the room that I realize like, oh, I did that. Like
Yeah. You didn't
I
break her.
did something that it made her feel things. And I think I was at a stage in my life where I had lost connection with so many of my friends because we couldn't relate to each other. It wasn't that we like stopped being friends. It was just because we didn't spend as much time together as they did with
Yeah,
their
you
other
didn't have the
friends.
shared experiences. Sure.
Exactly. And I had just assumed, oh, well, I guess if I lack shared experiences, I just can't connect with people anymore. And here I was connecting with a complete stranger with probably completely different life experience and values and all that. I didn't know her at all because I had told a story that had moved her.
Mm.
And I was on a high. I've never done cocaine. I imagine this is what cocaine must
I have
feel
no
like.
idea either. So,
Yeah, I just was like, whatever this is, like what this whole thing. I don't even, you can't do interprofessionally. They don't do that as adults.
yeah,
But
they
I
call
have
it
to do it.
improv.
Yes. I was like, I don't care what it is. I have to do this thing for the rest of my life. And so I was in like community theater. I was acting. I was doing opera. I was trying anything I could do to get that
Okay,
feeling
wait, wait,
back.
wait. You went from acting to opera?
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Homeschoolers are really nerdy, and they end up in children's choirs that then get used by like local opera companies because where else are you going to find a children's choir that
Well,
has
your
so much
timbre and
time
your
to
speaking
memorize?
voice is so good. I can
Oh,
imagine that your
thank
singing
you.
voice must
It's the
rock.
camera. It's entirely my fun gamer headset that
That's
makes
it.
me sound good.
When you're playing, when you're playing Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate,
Exactly. It's just
there
this
you go.
mellifluous voice. But yeah, so I was just trying anything I could to get that feeling back. And I had these friends that I used to make dumb YouTube movies with, and we just started making stuff. We made so much stuff. I was the only girl in that group, so I ended up becoming the producer a lot of the time. Somebody has to like mom these two boys, and no one's going to trust a 16-year-old boy when they say they won't wreck your property.
Yeah.
But they'll trust
No
me.
kidding.
So I was producing, I was writing a lot, but I still kind of had this block where like I remember, and again, my mom, God bless her, um, at one point she was like, you don't really want to go into film, do you? And I was like, well, maybe I was thinking about it. And she was trying to help. She was genuinely trying to help, but she
Yeah.
asked, how many people that look like you do you know in film? And that was rough. I mean,
That
again,
to
she
me
didn't
is
do
the
it to be mean,
challenge.
but it was a challenge at that point in time. I didn't know very many women who in film. I certainly didn't know any Asian women in film.
Right.
And especially no one doing the kinds of, action, sci-fi genre stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah,
And so
Lucy
that was
Liu
a
can't be the only person in the entire.
exactly like I knew actors, but again, like
Yeah.
how many Asian women actors do you know that are A-listers? Like three,
Yeah.
maybe five. So and that kind of put a damper on things for a little bit. So I went to college. I was studying English and music. I was still directing operas. I was directing
Were
Shakespeare in
you
the
a
Park.
soprano, mezzo soprano? I'm
I
guessing
was a
mezzo.
coloratura soprano, believe it or not. I don't have those chops anymore, but that's where I was.
my second master's is in jazz vocals. So I'm always
Oh,
impressed
no
when somebody knows
way.
music. So okay.
Yes.
We'll
Oh,
talk
our
that
we
another
actually had a
time.
very good jazz program. I almost kind of wish I had gotten that way because it's a little easier on the voice and more stimulating for the brain
Yes.
to be able to just kind of mess around. The jazz majors always seem to have way more fun than us
This we did
too.
have a lot of fun. I was in San Francisco State at the time, so yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, that must have been great. But yeah, so anyways, I was gonna go be like an English teacher or something. I figured that's the closest I can get to this like storytelling bug. And then my two friends from high school from church called me up one day in like June senior year, middle of finals first semester, and they were like, "Hey, we both moved out to Los Angeles. One of us is in film school, the other one just skipped college entire homeschoolers skipped
Yeah.
college
As you
entirely and is
do.
now working professionally in visual effects.
Of course.
You know,
My
zero debt,
field,
making
visual
money.
effects. Rock on.
Let's go. And they were like, we gotta get the band back together. When are you coming out here?
Come on, Ringo.
And I had all my excuses. I had the whole like, I don't know anyone who looks like me out there, et cetera, whatever. But eventually they pestered me until I was like, fine, I will apply to one film school for you guys. And if I don't get in, and I'm only applying to one, and if I don't get in for grad school, then like we'll call it a day. So I applied to USC in the middle of finals week, in between two finals.
No pressure.
Was just like, I don't know. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning writing my application. I don't know.
What's my
What is final
statement?
draft? Yeah. And I just kind of threw it over my shoulder and what'll happen will happen. And then in the spring, I was like getting ready to go to some classical school job fair to become a teacher.
Hmm.
And I got a letter from USC, or I got an email from USC. They're saving paper. I got
Yeah,
an email from USC saying I had gotten into their graduate program in screenwriting.
that is
And
awesome.
I almost had a panic attack. And
But I
after
gotta pay for it.
yeah, after many conversations with people I trusted, I realized that if I didn't at least try, I was gonna probably regret that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, the connections you make at USC of all places, UCLA, USC, and Cal Arts, I think are the three best for, and actually
Hmm.
NYU for connections for schools, for
Yeah,
filmmakers. Such great places to go.
they truly are. And it was really while I was in the grad program there that because I had never studied film, like I never studied screenwriting. I didn't know about structure except from what I had read in books. And so being with that particular cohort of people who are the best. Like we still go on retreats every year. We have like a little reunion as a
That's
as a
cool.
graduate school class. We get to hang out with everyone's like babies.
My brother-in-law taught there, so I'm always
Oh,
excited
no
about it.
way.
Yeah, Michael
What's
Scroggins. He was
he's not in writing, is
he
he?
was in
Which
animation. No.
animation? Yeah, we never get to see the animation people. They're like locked away in a separate
Yes,
building.
yes, they have. Well, now he's in Spain, but yes,
But they work so hard and we never get to see any of them because they're so focused and busy.
backpack.
Animation. Oh, I love those people. But yeah, so sorry, that was a very, very long way to say I got here via school.
No,
Um,
it's a necessary way because there's going to be somebody else out there going, man, there's nobody that thinks like me or looks like me in my world. And what am I going to do? I really wish I could do this, but there's nobody. Well, yeah, that's why you should be doing it because there's
yeah,
nobody that looks like you or.
exactly. And the thing is, it's not even the encouraging thing being people higher up, like, and that can be encouraging in the way that like Barack Obama having been president is encouraging.
Mm,
It's really seeing the people around you
yeah.
and realizing like your peers are also out there doing this and that by building stronger friendships with those peers by becoming like real genuine friends, not connections, right?
Yeah.
Real genuine friends, like that's how you come up in the industry. So I've been a writer for since like 2019
Now mention
professionally.
some of the things you've written for because I was slightly impressed by one of four of them.
Thank you. I've written for a group several different companies and this is the joy of being a feature writer is that and this is part of why I directed Sundowning is that 99.9% of what you write, even if you get paid, you will not see on screen because people will buy stuff and they will pay you and they will say thank you very much. And then for one reason or another, it just won't become a movie.
We spoke about
Um,
this with Aaron Drain from the Olympic
oh yeah,
College.
yeah.
Yeah, same type
Hmm.
of thing where he got a nice big check from somebody, but he never got to see the final
Yeah.
thing come to
And it
fruition.
is often has nothing to do with you. Like my first job professionally, like I was working like assistant gigs for TV shows and stuff just to pay the bills while I kind of worked on my own stuff.
Mhm.
But my first ever like professional WGA grade job, Actually, I don't even think it was WGA because it was animation, but WGA grade
Okay. EATSE.
job
We'll call it EATSE for now.
was for Sony Animation.
Cool.
And that was a phenomenal project, like carried me through the pandemic mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Because it was just a beautiful, like gorgeous, sweeping film for families. And it was like, so there were all these great jokes. There was a beautiful message about the environment and sticking up for one another and justice. And it went kaput because
And
Sony's
you can't talk
international
about it because
division,
the NDA, and you can't.
and well, Sony's international division shuttered.
Yeah.
They went, we're not looking to make co-productions with China anymore. And that was originally why they had put this project on. And so we got shuttered with that division. The director of that, Emily Dean, who currently directs for Love, Death and Robots and is just a phenomenal human being.
What
Um,
amazing budget pile of lovely
oh yeah.
films in
I mean,
that.
she's phenomenal. That's how she was a director on that. That's how we got to know each other. And we're still working on stuff together. We still try to, find things to do together. So that's really the upshot of it. But yeah, did that movie ever get made? No, there's some nice concept art. There's some
I
amazing
love watching storyboards
sci-fi.
of stuff that I've never gotten made.
Let me
It's like
tell you,
that's a great
sci-fi
storyboard.
Chinese Western.
Oh,
Like a
now
sci-fi
I'm really
Western, but
mad.
in like rural China.
That's
Come on,
come
guys.
on. We're watching the
Let us do the
Mongolians right
movie.
now, and I'm like, come on, man. There's so
Yeah,
much
no.
out there that needs to be done.
Yeah, Emily and I after that we were like, I think both our hearts are a little broken over this.
And I have a movie that I wrote that got bought, but they optioned it as a series.
Mm-hmm.
But then that I have no idea if it's ever going to see the light of day at all.
Yeah, I mean
Ever.
development hell is a real thing. It's
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
knows? I
But
mean the main point is they optioned it and you got paid, right?
yeah, and I'm still going to get paid, which is nice
Beautiful.
because they want more scripts. It's like they're still looking at them
That's great. Yeah, no,
9
just
years
keep
later.
keep keep milking that cow. I don't know what
Exactly.
this is not the gesture for milking a cow. You know
No,
that,
I
right?
think this is the gesture for rolling film, which is it
You know
works.
what? That's better. Let's do
Yeah,
that
let's roll
instead.
film. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I've been bopping around doing mostly feature films in I seem to spiral back or bounce back and forth between like heavy sci-fi genre action horror and then like a family film. So it goes back and forth. I think at one point I was simultaneously on that Sony animation feature and a Blumhouse movie at the same time.
Okay, that's cool.
And that
Remember,
was like, please
Hansons
do
were
not
our
let these
family.
two cross. Do not let any of the vibes of either of these two movies cross into each
Pete
other because it
Doctor
will not.
directs. Tim Burton's next.
Right. It will just not be good for anybody.
That's funny. But you
Yeah, it
also,
was.
and you're writing too, right? I mean, you're
Mhm.
writing the next thing you're working on.
Yes, yes.
That
So my plan is to, unless I see something that's like absolutely out of this world in a genre that I know I cannot
it's
write.
just like,
Yeah, my plan is to write pretty much everything I work on.
that's excellent.
And there are certain projects that I am curious or that I would like to direct. And Sundowning is one of those where it started out as just a script idea. I was just gonna write a script, and so I sent my agents the idea for it, and I was like, I
Explain
want to
that
do a horror movie. Hmm.
step right there. A lot of people don't understand that when you're writing, even if you're writing scripts, you do need an agent. What? Explain that a little bit, because I've tried to talk people through this that are my students, but I think the world likes to also know these things.
Why do you need an agent or a manager?
Yes,
Um,
especially or how do you start to look for one when you're starting out? Because a lot of these
that
folks will send
yeah.
scripts before they're even ready. First of all, get your craft down.
Yes. Make it really ready before you send it anywhere.
Yeah,
Please. Because you're not doing yourself any favors. And also most people who have to read, 90 to 120 pages, they're looking for an excuse to not finish.
exactly. They want to see
That
the
like
first page, and if they're not pulled in by the first 3 pages, if they make it past the first page,
yeah.
they're done.
If they start seeing typos and errors that feel a little bit like you dashed this off in a hurry,
Yeah,
they're going to feel disrespected. Like, if you didn't put in the time and effort to like fix very basic grammatical errors or formatting errors, why should I finish this?
and know the secretaries' names, know the assistants' names, and know anybody else in the office's names because it's not going to be the person you're looking at up on the top of that hill that's going to be looking at your stuff.
Hmm. Exactly. And like, so my manager, I think when I met him, he had just become a full manager, but like I've had the opportunity to work with some of his earlier clients, his clients who were with him from the beginning when he
Hmm.
was himself an assistant, just quietly managing. Which is honestly that he's a level of proactive that very few people that I've met are, and I love that about him. But
Cool.
I got very fortunate about the finding the manager thing. I USC set up this thing called First Pitch, which is like speed dating, but with
Yep,
managers.
yep.
It's honestly horrifying, and this leads to the reason for agents and managers is most of us writers are not we're not exactly extroverted. And we're certainly not the level of like glib and can remember 15,000 people's names and everything. Like what agents and managers are a professional extrovert for you.
That's a great way to put it.
They will go to the parties, the drinks, the whatever. They know all of the people. They know all
It's
the
your
people you will
schmoozer.
never, yeah. Well, I mean, and even that's like not really quite all of what they do, but they're an encyclopedia of everybody and what everybody needs. Their job is to connect people with people.
Yep.
Um,
What are they working on? Why are they working on it? And if they need
mhm,
somebody else that's working on this instead.
exactly. And then after that, their job is to advocate for you because frequently we advocate against we work against ourselves naturally because we would do this for free.
And the self-critic stuff is there too.
We're not only self-critical and shy and awkward half of the time, but we also, I mean, most of us as artists, they call it the passion tax.
Yeah.
We would do this for free.
Yeah.
So why should anyone bother to pay us? Right? And so we're actively everybody knows we would love to have a movie made. And so they know they could pay us less money to get something made. It's your agent and your managers and your lawyer's job to be the bulldog for you and say, hey,
Yes.
she's walking away unless you can put this much on the table. My
And it's
client is valuable.
so much better to have those representatives in your corner. Speaking from somebody who had a book that was trying to get sold, and my agent was
Mm-hmm.
amazing because the company that finally decided to buy it wanted to change it into a book that it wasn't. And she said, no,
Oh,
that's against our contract. Give us a check and we'll see you later. And she worked
good
it
on
out.
her.
Yeah, she was on. She was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. My manager is very much the same way. Like sometimes I'm not even very sure of a thing and he'll remind me like, look, if this is not a hell yes, it's a no. Like, I don't pay him to be my
Excellent.
therapist, but sometimes
But that's it. They have to be. They
they
have
give
to know
you
you.
and they have the experience and they have other clients, so they're very aware of what our tendencies are and
Mm,
they're at the end of the day, their job is to make you look as good as you possibly can.
right. And it helps if you start by making yourself as good as you possibly can.
Hmm. Right.
And
They would it would be great for them to have slightly they would love to have clients that give them slightly fewer problems and slightly less work to do. So if you can advocate for yourself, you can be a gracious person, you can get through a meeting without crying.
Mhm.
You can
Oh,
it,
that's what I've been doing wrong. Oh,
yeah, I
oh, if
know, right?
only I knew.
Look, a little strategic crying is okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
strategic though,
You
that's the
know, bring
key.
the puppy under the arm, offer to kill the puppy
Hmm.
if they don't bite. I mean, that works for me.
Yes, and
But
then a single tear just to show you're
yes,
that crazy.
just the one.
But yeah, so I found my manager through that process. And then we were able to tack on agents after that point. So my process with that has been relatively smooth. I know people have gotten them off of off of general meetings, off of some festivals and contests. You have to be really selective about which ones. A lot of them are money dumps that you have
Yeah.
to be careful of, especially the contests.
Yeah, do the research. Oh man, do the
Mhm.
research.
Yeah, it really helps if you build again a broad network of other writer friends and then hear from them which festivals and contests actually did anything for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like I came into when we started Sundowning's like festival run, I'd never been to a film festival before,
Really? Not
let
even
alone a
like
horror
South by
one.
Southwest is usually what I hear is people's first, or North by Northwest, people's first experience.
South by. I mean, we applied for South by, we did not get it. We got a very nice email from them,
Oh,
which was nice.
that
Somebody bothered to
astonishes me. Well, yeah, they do get a proverbial shitload. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But
But I used
like
to go to it when there was only, 4 days during the festival, and then they moved it up to a week, and everybody thought that's too much. Nobody's gonna go. And then now it's like half a, two,
half
three
a month,
weeks.
and it's
Yeah.
also music, and it's like I
Oh,
think
well,
also
music's what
weed
I
or
originally
something.
started. Yeah.
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 It's so many things now. Um but yeah, I had never gone to a festival before, let alone a horror festival. I had no idea where to apply, what I was doing, and my first horror festival, Nightmares, which is a phenomenal fest.
Sure.
They worked so hard to not only make us feel welcome, but orient us, introduce us to people. And that's where I met a lot of whom were also at Portland. A lot of the folks who were then able to be like, you should go to this festival and that festival. If you haven't applied to that one, you should. And
Hmm.
I can try to find you a discount code for this one. And, we help each other out.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially,
Because
especially when
you're
you're a
not actually
drowning newbie
competing.
like me.
A lot of people worry that you're competing with each other, but you're not. You're actually competing with yourself. It's
Yeah,
like
I
your
think there can
film is
sometimes
what's going to make
be
you something.
Yeah, there can sometimes be a vibe of like, oh, it's a little competitive, but not in, I found especially not in horror festivals. Horror festivals, like there's no pretense there. Everyone's just wearing their like goofy graphic tee. Nightmares even has like a onesie day
Okay,
where
I love
everybody's
that.
supposed to show up in a onesie, and I adore it. Yeah, no, I like honestly having gone to a couple horror fests at this point, I'm like, I don't want to go to a normal festival ever again. Like, what's the point? I'm
I
making
know,
way
right?
more
It just
friends at
isn't
this
going to be
one.
the same. It's just
Hmm.
not gonna. Yeah, how can
These
it
are
even
these are
compare?
our people. Like the horror film festivals are the ones where people go out for karaoke after.
Yes, and it's stripper karaoke as it's been
Yeah.
tweeted out. Yes.
There was
So,
no stripper karaoke this year. There
oh,
was,
that's right, because
however,
they closed it.
but there was still karaoke at Dots.
Oh, that's good.
At the because they happened to have karaoke that day right after the award ceremony. Actually, I think it was happening during the award ceremony. We just all crashed right after
That's so
into the
cool.
bar and sang until like I think like 2:30 a.m.
When the bartender's saying, you don't have to stay, but you
Yeah, yeah.
don't have
You
to
can't
go.
stay here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to remember. I had a train of thought 30 minutes ago.
And I'm terrible because
Um,
I'm so the queen of distraction. It's the
no, all good.
ADHD in me. So, oh, look,
Um,
rabbit. No, I blame the dog.
Squirrel.
We can blame the dog.
Yes, it's
We'll
definitely
blame
the
the dog.
dog's fault.
She's out cold in the bed. So,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
so good.
Oh, I remember now. See, it also takes me a second to find the track
There
wherever
we
it was.
go.
I
At
find it
least you know where the
eventually.
track is. I don't even know if I've got a train.
No, you should hear conversations in my family. It's like there's 15 different tracks and we'll move between them. And then my dad will go back to the track that was from 40 minutes ago.
That's my husband.
Like they're still on that. They're still on
I
that
always say to
train.
him, "Which conversation is this?" And are you in a conversation we forgot we had an hour and a half ago? Okay.
Yep. Yep. And he's just been steadily like chugging along on
Yep.
that train.
Exactly.
Okay, so the steadily chugging train from ages ago that's been in the background. I was talking about why I decided to direct with Sundowning because Sundowning is my first ever time directing. Um, and I initially was not sure I wanted to direct. It seemed like a lot of work. It seemed like very extroverted work.
Mm.
Um, and I have friends who direct, and there was kind of, and I do this all the time again with like back to high school. It's just like, oh, that's a cool thing that somebody else does. I
Yeah.
wish I could do it, but I guess I can't. So I kind of spent a long time in that frame of thinking, making features, and I'm making okay money at it. So I'm like, I'm comfortable in this. I don't need to move. And then I came up with this idea for a horror film set in a nursing home with the protagonists being people in the nursing home.
Which I loved.
Thank you. My agents initially did not because they were justifiably a little confused because they were like, well,
Old
it's
folks aren't scary.
well, yeah, they were like, well, first off, who's the audience? Because the audience for horror is usually young people who
Mhm.
don't usually want to watch old people. And the type of stuff for old people is not usually horror. So
Yeah.
where's your audience here? And I was like, both, all of it. But I see you're confused. Yeah. And they
But
were like,
now,
look, it's a weird tone thing where like, how horrifying are you going to be? Because we're going to feel kind of bad if you do something really terrible to grandma,
yeah, but
right?
John Lithgow's in a nice horror movie about.
Oh yes, but I mean he's John Lithgow.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
that's
don't
true.
we don't mind when terrifying things happen to John Lithgow because he's very entertaining when he does it. Um,
Grandpa
but
did it again.
yeah. So so I was like, okay, I see there's some stuff that has to be proven here that is hard to see. So I realized I couldn't just pitch it at them. It wasn't, there are some ideas I can pitch and it's like an immediate, yes, do it, right? That
Right.
we know how to sell
Doing a
that.
little
This one,
animatic or, whatever.
right, this one they didn't quite know how to sell. Just off of paper, right? And I was like, well, let me try some, and I made a little pitch deck, which again, not a writer's job, but a thing we have to do more and more often because people need the visuals. People need
Yes.
something to kind of physically spring the imagination at. And they saw the pitch deck and they were like, "Oh, we get it. We think we get it now. We understand now what the tone is." And I was like, "Cool, cool. So you needed an entire booklet of visuals
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
it."
We
And I
needed a
worry.
lookbook. We needed a pop-up.
Yeah, and I
We
was like,
needed
people
scratch
are
and
gonna.
sniff.
And I realized at that point, I was like, if I don't direct this, it's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
Like if I don't direct this, the vision is so specific in my head, and then maybe this is a writing problem where it's not communicated on paper very well, but people are having trouble probably due to in part the writing, but in part the preconceptions
And
we
they,
have.
exactly, their prejudices were already in front of their writing.
Right. We have
Yeah.
a lot of preconceptions about the elderly and what they look like and what they can and can't do and what they sound like.
61. So there we go.
I mean, I don't think that counts as elderly, but
And I'm getting there.
we're all getting there.
Yeah, that's true.
We're all getting there at the exact same rate as everybody else, actually. Um, so I was like, I think I have to do this. I think I have to take the cold open of this and direct it. And I can write down like a very short version that's just the first kill and an introduction of the protagonist, and we can cap it off in a way that feels complete as a film because I don't like proof of concepts that don't feel complete, and then I just
Right.
leave the film going like, what
Right.
was that? I want to be able to feel a sense of emotional resolution, and I was like, I guess I have to direct this. So that's what I did, and it was a fantastic time. I mean, I was blessed to have a phenomenal producer, Rebecca Doyle, who will not go with me to horror festivals because she doesn't usually like horror, but she put her squeamishness on the line for me. And for that we are forever grateful. I had my friend from middle school from church, Brian Tang, who is a phenomenal director in his own right. He had a short at South by actually the year before.
Oh, that's
So I
cool.
actually
And
mimicked a
I
lot of
recognized
his.
him from some other film,
Yes,
and
he
I
did
was
a
wondering,
short film called Kodama
that
at
might have been
South
it.
by that then got picked up by Agbo. So he's currently in the development process on
That's
that.
excellent.
So I caught him right before he like shot off into the
Now, wasn't
stratosphere.
there also a Lou family member in your film?
Yes, yes. That was my brother. Paul Liu, who is a professional dancer. We originally brought him in, and not even brought him in because he lives on the other side of the country from me. We initially were just like, hey, I need movement reference for like a weird, like kind of puppet-like way this thing can move. Could you model that a little bit?
Could you
Because he
be our
worked
Doug Jones?
exactly. I mean, Doug Jones is one of his idols.
Oh, that's
He's
cool.
strongly considered, and if anybody knows how to get him into this type of career, he is strongly considered, especially because dance, especially the type of dance he does.
Doug is on Cameo.
The type of dance that my brother does is so strenuous. There's not really a way you can do it into old age.
Wow.
Acting is a much more sustainable
Much
career,
more
and
like the
Doug,
Alvin Alley kind of
yes,
multi-physicality.
he's
Jacques Heim
extremely
probably knows
yeah.
all these dancers I'm talking about. Yeah.
He was for a while he was part of Pilobolus, which is one
Oh,
of the really big yeah. Look, people either have zero idea who Pilobolus is or they know everything about Pilobolus.
right.
There's like no middle ground. But as part of Pilobolus, he is really good at isolations and strength, and he has also a slip disc in his back because of all the
Well,
lifting.
weren't they at one point hanging off of what was one of the buildings? I don't remember. There was something that they were doing it. Well, probably way earlier
I
than
don't doubt it. I do
yeah.
not doubt it.
But
Um,
they were hanging off a building and doing a ballet off of a building, like
yeah, that sounds like them.
completely horizontally, but
That
standing
really
as
sounds
if they
like
were
them.
vertical.
And so, I mean, that is my brother's, special talent. And I regret that we didn't use as much of it in the film as he could do. Like he can do so much more than
Yet.
that. We just didn't yet, yet. We just didn't have an opportunity or the time to really like get into the details of that. But I was like, hey, you're just originally he was just movement reference. We were gonna find another actor for it because he doesn't really like to like talk
Uh,
act.
uh-huh.
So he was like, yeah, just movement reference. And then after a certain point, Rebecca looked at me and was like, you could just get him. Like that would be, you already know how to work with him. You know how to direct him. Like you have good communication.
Chances are he knows your hobbies and habits and
Yeah, like he's gonna, we can all trust him to behave on set.
that's so
Why
cool.
not? Just like fly him out. It's gonna cost the same as hiring an actor here
Right?
anyway.
That's so cool.
So yeah, we flew him out for it, and it worked out beautifully. He had such a great rapport with our lead actor, who I didn't know when we hired him. He was 90 years old when we filmed.
Whoa.
Um, so he's like 92 now.
Wow.
I thought he was 70.
I know. I wouldn't have thought he was in this. Well, then
Right?
again,
He's just what I don't know what his health regimen is. I need it though.
my
Um,
my my uh my husband's dad is 96 and he doesn't look a day past 75.
that's wild.
And he
Yeah, no,
just
you
says
got
it's because I am from China. That's
yeah, it's that good skin. It's that
yeah,
really
that's what
good
he says.
skin and eating fish, I guess,
Yep.
or whatever. But yeah, Ken, but my brother and Ken built up a really good rapport, which made doing the stunts that involved both of them a lot easier because it's
That's
it's really
cool.
hard to, we have to have him like kind
And
of pick
Ken
him up
plays
and throw
Jerry.
him.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Ken plays Jerry. There are moments where Paul has to pick up, Ken, by the throat and then throw him. And this is a 90-year-old. So,
Yeah,
trying to
one hip
find how.
later.
Right, but Paul is very good at making people feel comfortable and understanding what would be a safe thing for him to do.
Excellent.
And Ken was
Excellent.
also very good. And we made sure to create an environment where, like, look, if you cannot do a thing or you're uncomfortable doing a thing, or you're just not sure you're going to physically be able to recover from doing a thing, don't do it. Just tell us. We will find another way to do it.
Yeah, in sex scenes you have an intimacy coordinator, but I guess with
Hmm.
seniors you would have to have a broken old lady
Yeah, I mean, it would be a stunt
coordinator.
coordinator. It would
Yeah.
be a stunt coordinator, but specifically for elderly people. And we had, I mean, again, honestly, I think one of my favorite things about the short was just how easy it was to work with older actors. In a weird way, older actors and children, in my experience, I actually find much easier to work with.
Because
In
they don't have the judgments going in their head.
exactly, they don't have the self-consciousness. They know who they are for the most part,
Mhm.
and if they don't know something, they just ask. They're not worried about asking. There's no like, no, 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 I got it, and then like ruining three more takes, right?
Wait, I have to call my therapist.
Right. It's just, and like, look, the actors in the middle of that range, been, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they're great too. And we were blessed with phenomenal, I mean, every actor on that project was so good. Richard, I barely had to do anything with. Kristen, who plays Nurse Hayes, sweetest person in real life, came off as such a jerk
That's how you know
in
they're
the
good when
short.
you like want to hate them the minute they're on
Oh yeah,
screen.
we really. I mean, we so want to hate her when she's on screen, and then like the second we yelled cut, she'd be like, "I'm so sorry. I'm normally not like that."
I love it when they're
Um,
like that. Oh my God, that's so
and she
funny.
really is like one of the sweetest people in the universe.
That's
And on
great.
top of it, she had nurse training also. She had also helped out in a home for the elderly. So when she had to move Ken, she knew how to do it
She knew the
exactly
lips.
right.
Yep,
Yeah,
those lips
and
are
she,
very
she
specific.
pretended to have a bad attitude about it, but that the way she actually moved Ken was very, very gentle and very professional.
That's great. Boy,
Yeah,
that's
so we
awesome.
yeah, we had such a, I mean, fantastic cast and crew, just
Where
everybody
did you
working
find
together
your
so
cast?
well.
Did you just hunt them down on
We found most of our cast on through open casting,
I
but
see.
then for Ken and for Shulan, who plays Shu Hua,
Uh,
their names are not coinciding. I did that separately and then later found a woman named Shulan. I was like, oh, that's pretty close.
yeah.
Um, but both of them we actually had to find through a casting director. So a friend of mine put me in contact with a casting director who then put me in contact with a junior casting director, um, who did a phenomenal job. Megan Apostolis is so great. She
I love it
found
when
us
you get a good
immediately what
casting
we
person.
needed. But because in part it wasn't that we couldn't access people like that. It's not like older Asian actors are impossible to find. They're
Right,
not.
right.
It's that people of a certain age, especially because we wanted to get genuinely people in that age range. We don't want
Sure.
to put a bunch
Yeah,
of
there's only
makeup
so
on
much
a,
makeup can do, and it can
yeah,
come across.
especially for your lead roles. We're going to spend so much
Yeah,
time on their face. I just didn't want to. And like,
sure.
look, the movement's going to be different. Like, there's certain things that you only really properly get when you're at
Even
that
the
age.
texture of the hair changes.
Yeah.
And
And it's just a lot less work to be like, yeah, you don't really need that much makeup. Let's go.
yeah,
Um, and we just wanted to catch the genuineness of what it feels like to move and breathe and be at that age. And especially because the film is about and very much advocating for people of a certain age, we
yeah,
wanted to, give people of that age the opportunity to be in it. But what we found was that if you're an actor at that age, you don't trust some random production doing open casting. Because it might be a student shoot. You might be eating
Right. And they don't
pizza.
know if there's going to even be medical assistance
Right. It might be
situation.
super unsafe. It
Yeah.
could be all sorts of things. And so it
Catering might
took,
suck.
right. I mean, there's so many things that you can't control for as an actor. You take a huge risk every time you take a job. You're trusting that these people have your best interest in mind and are not
Yeah,
going to keep you over time, or, there's just a lot of things, and especially at that age, they don't have to put up with that anymore.
sure.
So I think going through the casting director is what gave them the confidence
That's so cool.
to work with us. And then of course we bent over backwards to make sure, like, we had COVID testing, we had everything possible, because I was
Well,
like, look, if one of my cast members passes away because somebody on this crew was not masking, I will lose my mind.
yeah, a little
So
bit.
we went really, really strict about health and safety. We worked really hard to make sure we had like nutritious, decent food on
Well,
set.
the thing that I was going to ask you about is, I've worked on so many productions doing effects. Production insurance is a thing.
Hmm.
And what type of production insurance did you have to get considering your cast or, octogenarians and
I
septuagenarians?
believe our production insurance we actually got through somebody that our producer put us in contact with, who also was renting us the equipment. So the
Oh,
production
excellent.
insurance kind of came with that entire thing. Because she had a prior relationship with him, having worked on projects with him in the past, they had that level of trust.
That's
And they
excellent.
knew that Rebecca wasn't going to cut corners.
That's
Right.
excellent.
Because I think that's
Because
where like 98% of the problems come from, is like somebody decides to cut corners somewhere and then suddenly someone's
yeah,
sick.
for your filmmaking futures, all people watching, when you're out there trying to, do the permits and do the insurance and do all the stuff, get the paperwork done
Yeah.
because, you can cut all the corners you want, but that's the corner that you're going to need.
And too many people, I think, especially because they're like, we're a small film, we're just trying to move fast and break things. It's it's easy to cut those corners and then realize you needed them later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or realize you cut some corners and then other people find out about it and go, well, I don't want to work with somebody who does that.
Right.
And I'm so proud that I think we had a really good experience on set. Everybody we worked with, liked each other, would be willing to come back. I'm really, really hoping that for the feature, which of course this was a proof of concept for, I'll be able to bring a lot of those. I would love to bring some of those people back, and I would really love, and this is why I
Oh,
want to
I
do it
can't even
soon. I
imagine.
would love to bring my actors
I
back.
was going to say, I hope you get the same cast. I hope they're all still
I
around.
hope they can come back, and that's the thing, is that there's a ticker on that.
They're all expirational. Yeah, that's the sad part.
Yeah, but yeah, Ken is fantastic.
Ken
He
is awesome. I mean, I remember watching your was it a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter pitch? It was one of the two.
Oh gosh, you watched the Kickstarter pitch.
Yeah, because I told you, I mean, I do this once a week. I go through GoFundMe and Kickstarter looking at who's doing what and where and who's up and coming. I want to see what's out there and who's doing what. Um, and when I saw there was a project being made for or of a group of people that I had intimate knowledge of, which are those old folk. As I mentioned before, we started the
Hmm.
show part of the show. I did work around seniors, and up until I think I took care of my friend's parents for about a year and a half,
Oh
just
wow.
before COVID,
Hmm.
back and forth to their living facility, and where they just needed companionship.
Yep.
Which is the worst disease you can have as a senior citizen is not having a single friend around because they're all
Yeah.
dead. It's so,
It really is. I think so. I live with my grandmother. That's a big part of where the short comes from, is the fact that I've been living with her for the last 4 years, kind of
oh,
being a
nice.
companion for the most part. She's thankfully very, very healthy. So there's very little that needs to be done from a practical standpoint. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh, a drawer broke. And,
Okay.
all right, gotta fix that.
But
But
if
it's
she
a lot
falls
of,
down, you're there.
hmm
If she
and
gets
also,
sick,
she
you're there.
eats like a 5-year-old with ADD. And I have to, so I'll try to find, like, can you eat a vegetable? Can we eat a vegetable, please? So I'll cook for her and we'll spend time together, and I'll try to
Taco
encourage
Bell's
her to
not a vegetable.
Yeah. And I'll try to encourage her to see, the couple friends that she still has around. But yeah, it's tough. She's from a huge family. I don't remember how many siblings and half siblings she has, but it's quite a lot, and there's only one left aside from her.
That's my husband's dad too. They're about to have a big family wedding. He's going away next week to do this big family
Mm,
wedding.
hmm
And we just discovered that the person that was supposed to be staying with his dad, because his dad was going to come out,
hmm
decided they couldn't because they're having vertigo from allergies. So
Vertigo from allergies.
yeah, their sinuses are so impacted.
Oh, it like messes with your ear and
Yeah. So
weird.
we're like, okay, so he's gonna so now we're gonna send somebody from the wedding party out to the
Yeah.
dad because there's no way we're gonna let him sit by himself.
hmm
It,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a whole thing. It's not hard work being around for them, but it can be emotionally taxing work, and that was something we tried to put in the short as well, is that it's not that Nurse Hayes and the other nurse like, it's not that Zach and Nurse Hayes are bad people. It's they're
yeah.
tired people.
And for often those places are understaffed and underfunded or owned
Right.
by corporations that have these overhead things that they start
hmm
yapping at you about. Oh,
And
we
Lord
just
knows the people who are staying there don't really want to be there.
yeah.
So, and oftentimes they can
They want
take
to
it
go
out
back to
on
their
the
house.
staff.
Where's my
Right.
house? You know?
Exactly. So, and they can take it out on the staff too.
Yeah.
And so, they have a hard job. And so, Nurse Hayes is ostensibly one of the villains. She's for those who haven't seen the short, she's the nurse, who is mean, I guess is the way to put it.
She's the nurse Ratchet of this operation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, we didn't want to make her as like, how do you like
She
as
isn't
evil
cruel.
as the way that
Yeah.
Nurse Ratchet is. She's
Yeah.
not a Nurse Ratchet. She's just a regular person who's been overworked and has kind of hit the end of a rope. And now here's someone causing her a level of problem that she really doesn't have the energy to deal with today.
Yeah. Her rope is over there and she's not. So
Exactly. And so we wanted to make that real for people as well.
now
So yeah.
this is the proof of concept. It's a 14, 15-minute piece.
hmm
Um, where has it gone from this point? Have you already started to get funding coming in, or are people talking to you about funding the larger piece, or is production house actually saying, hey, can we take this in?
We're at the stage where I have a draft of the feature, but I don't like it, and I would like to do it again, especially now that we've had the festival experience. I'm now more able to tell, oh, this is like what people are enjoying. This is what people are not enjoying so much.
Your
There's a lot
vocabulary
of
is improved mentally.
exactly. I would
Yeah.
love to go back into the feature draft and just really fine tune it so that we hit that. I think we got so lucky that we hit this like perfect combination. It's worked for us sometimes and it hasn't worked. It's a really good, at least for me, combination of pathos and horror and humor.
Mhm.
It doesn't always work for everybody in that it works really well for the festivals we've been at, but a lot of the bigger horror festivals don't want it because it's probably not horror
Well,
enough.
they think it's too niche, or
Potentially, it's not horror enough. And then like a regular festival, it's too much horror for them.
we're just gonna
So
get you a faith festival.
yeah, so it's and I love that mix that we found because at the festivals that we've been to, people have really enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. I'm like, that's the tone I want to be able to hit for the feature. And right now, the feature draft was written while like in the middle of the Kickstarter
Mhm.
for the short. So I need to go back in and do another draft before we go anywhere with it. Which I'm hoping to tackle in the next couple of months
But
because
now you've got more contacts than you had before.
exactly. And we also now have the proof, right? In that, like, we were very, very fortunate to win an award at Portland. We won a couple other awards at a couple other places.
Mhm.
We've actually had the insane, amazing good fortune of we don't get into a lot of festivals, but the
Uh-huh.
ones we've gone into, the majority of them we've won awards at.
The photo from top to bottom, the photography, astonishing. Effects, unreal for a proof of concept, first of all.
That's
Just
all Brian. The effects are all Brian.
I mean, as an animator, I was happy and blown away and really eager to see what was happening next. Um, the acting is superior. The people you've cast, I can't even picture anybody else doing what they're doing in that because they are the people.
They are, yeah, they are exactly.
They
I
are
think my
the
only regret is Lavelle, who plays the other lady at the dining room table who's
hmm
flirting with the nurse.
hmm
She had gone so wild with the flirting initially that I was so embarrassed in the moment because it was like so extra. I kept asking her to tone down. I now wish I had toned her up more.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's three or four women I know that are in there. One of them is 96 or 95, named Iris, who I think that she still pinches waiters' bottoms when they walk by her,
Oh
and they
no.
flirt back. It's,
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
greatest thing in the world. The
Yeah,
crazier
no,
they
I
go,
I
the
wish I
crazier.
had gone. That's my one regret is I wish I had gone weirder. I wish I had gone weirder with
Well, now you have a
Lavelle
way
and
to
just let
do
her
that,
go.
and
Um,
you have that opening now. So it's
exactly. And I would love to have her on just because like her improv was beautiful. Just amazing.
you're probably too young to know who Joanne Worley was, but Joanne Worley was pretty much on par with that.
I
So
mean, that's one of the joys of working with elderly folks is older folks is that they have like fewer filters. They
yeah.
don't care anymore because they have that confidence that comes
Who
with
the
having
fuck are
lived.
we gonna impress?
Exactly. And so there's just like this beautiful freedom that they have in their acting that I was able to I was so honored to be able to tap into.
I love it. And there's just so much just a little bit that's seen. There's two proof of concept films that I saw that were just astonishing to me. Yours and Slush.
Oh yeah, Slush.
Because I didn't want to stop watching them. Both of them were like, that, no, more, please more.
Please more, give me more.
Yeah. Good chocolate, like it. Thank you.
Good chocolate like it, thank you. Oh, that's good. Yeah. So yes, that's where we are in development. Like I've had conversations with a couple people about where to take it next, but
Excellent.
um again, this would be my first time directing a feature. So I think there's probably a couple more career hurdles I'd like to hit to give people the confidence that I can direct a full feature.
You did pretty damn good on the little bitty one.
Thank you.
I mean, girl, you seriously have got chops. I don't want to hear the low self-esteem fairy at all, but you got
No,
chops. No,
thank you.
your eye and your the way you work the stories so that I mean, even when what's his face is opening the door to look at Jerry, I'm not going to say anything that's going on in the scene because I
Yeah.
don't give spoilers, but just the way the light hits his hand and his face is just half shadowed, and then Jerry's like the way his face is shadowed. I was just that's Orson Welles material right there. That's
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Because it was like I was just blown away. So, and I granted I love movies and I'm addicted to movies and I literally watch them from the minute I wake up. But I was damn impressed with this one. I mean,
Thank you so
I was
much.
so excited to meet you because I knew you were going to be. I didn't expect you to be as effervescent and sweet and lovely as you are, honestly. I thought you were going to be a little bit, like, "Brr." But no, you were surprising me there too. And that
It's my
laugh of
headshot. My
yours.
headshot, if you Google me, looks way like
I
fiercer
thought you were
than
going to
I
hit
am.
me. But this is the
I
laugh.
have I
This is
have
the
resting don't talk to me face.
yes.
But I also can't do my headshots grinning like an idiot. So
So funny. Never do your own headshots.
yeah. No, that's what I have learned.
That
I
has
would think I
become
think
your.
that headshot is from ages ago and I was trying real hard to look like a badass. I was like trying so hard to look, like the person you would hire to do a big sci-fi script. And so
My
it
first
captures
headshot,
none of
I
my personality.
I kept getting told I wasn't getting hired for things because my first headshot made me look sweet. And anybody who saw my stand up said, "Oh, no, that's not
Ah.
sweet. Not a sweet person. Little edgier than sweet."
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard when your face is fighting the rest of what you do.
That is a fact.
How do you fix that? Do you just do a headshot with like a
I had a half shot done, mid
uh-huh.
shot up, waist up, and I have I don't know if you can see this. I have braces on my hands that look like
Mm-hmm.
this. And my all of them are on my fingers because my fingers dislocate. So I had this
Oh
one
wow.
where I'm just basically doing this with my eyebrow. And it's
Yes.
all this, and it just says I've been married, 9 times, and this. And that's
That's
something that got me
perfect.
noticed at places. So,
That's perfect.
so
Oh my
wasn't the
gosh.
cute little girl next door anymore.
No, but you're like, I want to know who that person is.
Exactly. It's like, what is the deal with those rings?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
It was fun. It
I
was
should do that.
yeah, get to, I'll send you my badass jewelry people. No.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll do you.
So
So,
so
Faith, I
yes.
know we've already eaten up like an hour of your time, and I definitely want to talk to you again. Will you allow me the opportunity to talk to you once your script's done and we can pimp you out to the world again?
Absolutely. My goal
Cool.
is to because we got distribution through Crypt TV. So whenever we're done with our festival run, which will be sometime in the fall, we will
Good.
be online live on Crypt TV. And my plan is to, by the time we're live, also have just be in fighting shape with the script.
Excellent.
So that we're ready to go. And like my hope for it is that we attach a couple high level actors, especially because again, 80% of my cast is going to be people in their 80s.
Yeah.
And so and these are people that I'm desperately hoping. I already know who I'd like to go to. And these are people who unfortunately because of Hollywood's bias towards the young,
Yeah.
they don't get the kind of roles that
My
they would
friend
like to
Victor
get.
Wong, speaking of Asian people in films, was in Big Trouble in Little China
Oh
and,
wow.
and like tons and
Yeah.
tons and tons of movies, character actor who sadly passed 2007 or 8. But he would give me all these stories about, starting off with, Anime Wong and all these people, and I was just like, wow.
Wow. He has anime Wong stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's wild. Yeah, I got to meet James Hong once.
yeah, I love him. I just
He's
talked to
phenomenal.
him
I
today.
like again, please, fingers crossed, all the prayers
Yeah.
that I can get this done in a time frame where I can get James Hong in this movie because
I
I
just saw him
adore
today
him.
in that fortune cookie movie he did. That was the Black Fortunes on. Oh my God,
He's got just
he's
such a
good.
beautiful voice and
And
like
his
a
look, he just
face.
looks. He's what Freddie Mercury would look like if Freddie Mercury was Chinese in '90.
Yes, exactly. So there's an actress I would love for Shuhua, sorry, Shuhua, because she's actually the main character of the film.
Oh,
Tai Chin. She was one of the moms in Joy Luck Club.
yes, I was just about to say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
She's
excellent.
she's actually been in a movie not too an indie movie not too long ago where I was just like this is it. Like this is her whole character in a nutshell. She has it.
Excellent.
And she is such a it's funny because she's always playing characters who struggle with English, she's always playing those like first generation immigrants. And then
It's
if you hear her in interviews, she is just the most eloquent woman.
Yeah. She's
And I
like
love it.
Manhattan English. So.
Beautiful. Yeah. I literally have a role in the feature where I'm like, I start describing a character. I'm like, it's Danny Trejo. Okay. It's Danny
Danny
Trejo. We're just
Trejo.
gonna call him Trejo for the rest of the script
And
because it
he's
cannot be
awesome.
anybody else.
He is so awesome. Ron Perlman's getting close to Danny Trejo's age right now, and it's like
But
he's
Danny
also
Trejo has those has
yeah.
that face that has so much
He yeah,
experience.
the age of life is just there. Like this year was there, and this year is here.
Mm-hmm.
This year is
And
here. I
like,
love that.
look, Ken looks beautiful for his age. I mean, again, I truly
But his
thought he was in
hands
his
also
70s.
tell stories, which I love.
Exactly. And like and he tells stories. So I didn't know his age until somewhere in the middle of shooting. We were on a little break and I was like, "Hey, I need to do I'm hoping I can actually maybe I was thinking about capturing these lines in Japanese." His last name's Takamoto. I made
Uh,
an assumption. I was wrong for making that assumption because he was like, "Oh, I
I'm
don't
Korean,
speak."
dude.
Oh, no, thank goodness.
That
That
would
would
have been
actually be
weird.
mortifying.
Yeah.
I would have disappeared into the ground and we would have never finished the short. Um, no, I made the mistake. I asked him, "Hey, do you speak Japanese?" He goes, "Oh, no, no. I haven't spoken it since the war."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I went, "Oh,
The war.
the
The
war, the second one."
that war. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you spoke
Um,
it here, you were doing the George Takei thing. Yeah.
exactly. Well, he very fortunately he grew up in Hawaii.
Ah,
So they weren't interned here,
yeah.
on the mainland. They were just interned in Hawaii. They weren't allowed to go fishing, and that's why spam is all over Hawaiian cuisine is
Yes.
because for a while they weren't allowed to fish, and spam was the only protein you could get.
And it
He says he
became the
likes
culture.
spam now. He said during the, at the time, really horrible. Now he feels nostalgic about it. So
Now,
that's the
do you watch Asian television or movies from overseas or
yes.
what? See, I live for K-drama.
Oh, I mean, we love a good K-drama. There is
I
a
am on
woman.
Viki every day. So,
Hey, we love it. We love to see, and they are making some very out there stuff in
yeah.
just a delightful way. Like some of it's really good, some of it's so weird, but Korean horror. in
Yes.
particular. There's just if have you seen Exhuma?
Yes.
Exhuma?
Yeah.
It's got such a terrible title in English.
Yeah, but I was telling people about this on I think Blue Sky.
I think you might have
Yeah,
frozen up a little bit. Yeah.
anyway, I could talk Korean movies for days. So, but uh, I just wanted to just tell you I'm a huge fan of yours, and
Thank you.
I think, man, I'm blown away, and I cannot. Oh, the cat just jumped from the bed.
Oh, hi.
I I cannot wait, to see this thing blown into full. I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. So, and
because
truly
you're
like
nice, you're not a dickhead, that helps.
we try. We try
Yeah.
very hard not to be a dickhead.
Phew, it worked. But anytime you want to come on again, just let me know. I'm gonna slate in a few seconds. Hold on after the slate. America, this has been the antisocial horror-ish show. We're not exactly horror, but we talk about it. And this has been
But no,
Faith.
truly, I mean like
Do I have? What was that?
I think we had a weird glitchy
That was a
thing.
weird glitch.
Yeah, I couldn't see you for a while, but you were still talking.
Oh,
And
that's
then I
so
think all
weird.
my dialogue from like 10 seconds ago just came in, right?
Okay, world, this is the anti-social horror-ish show where ghosts just came in and ate our film footage and spit it back out again right as we were saying goodbye. But I'd like to thank Faith Liu, who did Sundowning and is going to finish doing Sundowning because that's going to be a hell of a film. And it will be her master first directorial debut. I don't care if she's going to try to do chops beforehand. She's going to kill it. And I mean that. Let me go ahead and kill the recording. I was in the middle of a. Thank you. Thank you, recording in progress. Okay, let's do CC. We have no light, we have no camera, and my brain is not working today. So this is fun. And I did have my notes in this computer, didn't I? So let's see if we can transfer them to the phone so I can see everything. Bippity boppity boo. And hopefully